Good morning and welcome to another weekly report from the Neuropsychotherapist. My name is Matthew Darlitz, and as you can see, I've been at the Gold Coast for the last week and enjoying a holiday with my family. So I personally don't have a lot to report this week. There is one study from Penn Medical that I'd like to point out, and that's an interesting study on the connectivity of the male and female brain, whereby they demonstrated using imaging technology how the male brain is more connected within each hemisphere and where the female brain is more connected across the hemispheres. Nothing new. We know about these gender differences, but it's really nice to see some of these imaging studies validate what we already know. So that's a great study. I'll leave the details of that study and where you can read about it below this video. Now this morning we have Richard Hill. He's over in America, and he's going to give us a quick report from his part of the world. Thanks, Richard.
Well, hi everybody. Richard Hill from the Mind Science Institute, giving you a special presentation right here from the Grand Canyon. People in the background, helicopters going. But I'm over here in Las Vegas because next week is the Evolution of Psychotherapy Conference, which I've told you all about. So you've still got a chance to come down and see that. That's in Anaheim in California. But for now, I just want to talk about a couple of papers and a couple of things. Trends in Cognitive Science, 2013, just recently, volume 17, issue 12, page 683. Network hubs in the human brain. Let me see, Martin van der Heuvel and Olaf Spoorns, they're from the Netherlands. Now, really interesting paper on this thing of network hubs, because one of the things that's been really interesting in the last little while is the connectome, is that looking at the connections between neurons and the connection between areas of the brain. I mean, we know that the brain has specific areas of activity, and we're kind of understanding that. We have, the prefrontal cortex does this, the parietal that, the temporal this. But actually the brain operates by connecting, by integrating and by associating. And so there are going to be hubs, there are going to be connections, and there are going to be parts that come in and join with several other parts. And we're looking for hubs that are really central hubs, there's peripheral hubs. And I was looking at some of the titles they were using for these, all kinds of different ways of integrating the network. And in interpersonal neurobiology, that's what we talk about, the integration. And it's the blockage to this integration which is really a part of what's our problem with the dysfunction and with mental ill health. Now, what enables this integration? They talk about this, the neural communication between specialized regions, the patterns of synchronization and information flow. It's this information flow which is what the brain's about. And as we talk about with interpersonal neurobiology, Dan Siegel, the mind, the flow of energy and information. And although we have a biology that does this, it's really the flow of energy and information that what makes up our entire body, but certainly our brain. So there's main hubs, there's high and low degree hubs depending on the number of connections. They've even got provincial hubs, they call it. So you've got the main hub in the center going to provincial hubs on the side. Now this is all very important, the nature of the hubs, in the areas of intelligence, in areas of cognitive performance, even personality traits. And then from the point of view of dysfunction, where you have barriers and breaks in the hubs, you've got areas of schizophrenia. Then later on you have disintegration of the hubs, and there's Alzheimer's and dementias and some of these aspects. So look at this paper, really interesting. You're looking at areas of these hubs, the precuneus, the insula, the superior parietal regions. We're looking at the frontal temporal gyrus. We're looking at the dorsolateral prefrontal. There's a number of these areas for different reasons doing different things. So that's that one. Trends in Cognitive Science, volume 1712, Martin van der Heuvel and Olaf Spoorns. A couple of quick announcements. Really interesting book. I reviewed it recently by Hilda Riley, Guises of Desire. Now, Hilda's written this book, and this is a novel version talking about Anna O, actually Bertha Pappenheim. So Anna O was Freud's famous case, his first case that he wrote a great deal about. Fascinatingly, he never actually saw her. Did it all through written communications. But really interesting, because this was a time when hypnotism was coming forward. Really interesting times. And what do we got here? We've got an event. Now, this is in Australia. It's a Positive Psychology 2014 conference, 7th to the 9th of February. It's the 4th Australian Positive Psychology of Wellbeing Conference. Marty Seligman's going to be there, Felicia Hubert from the UK, Professor Peng Kai-pei from China. So check out that, education.unimelb.edu.au. The Positive Psychology 2014 conference. So this is Richard Hill from the Grand Canyon with the Colorado River helicopter. See, we didn't walk here, and lots of lovely people around me from all different countries, and it's just such fun. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks, Richard, and we'll look forward to some more reports from Richard from the United States as he goes to the conference over there. And we'll look forward to hearing from him next week. Now, as usual, we're going to hear what's happening on Shrink Wrap Radio with Dr. Dave. Thanks, Dr. Dave.
Hello, Matthew. Fans of Shrink Wrap Radio know that I'm a big fan of dreams and have done lots of podcast interviews on that topic. And it's always fun when we can kind of turn the microphone or the camera around, if you will, and interview one of our listeners. And in this case, one of my Shrink Wrap Radio listeners has written a book on dreams. And so our most recent podcast is that interview about his book. I'm referring to clinical psychologist Stephen Fox, who has written this book here, Dreams, Guide to the Soul. And the subtitle is 40 Ancient Secret Keys to Healing, Renewal, and Power. And this is an interesting interview, I think, because there have been so many books written about dreams, and he covers the basic Jungian basis, I would say. So all 40 of his keys are recognizable to me, but at the same time, he has an interesting turn of mind, and he's come up with some very specific ideas about a variety of dream symbols that make his book really worth reading, I think, for a fresh take on things relating to dream interpretation. He has an original turn of mind, and he's really thought through some of these basic ideas for himself. Plus, he was in Jungian analysis for a long time, and so he has a very interesting story. In fact, he is someone who is stricken with multiple sclerosis and has been in remission for years and years, and he attributes his dream life and his understanding of dreams to, it gives them credit for this remission along with the therapy that he's been in. I wanted to comment about something else. Sometime back, you invited me to comment on a discussion on the site having to do with whether or not empathy can be learned or not. So let me just cast a vote right now to say that, yes, I do think, probably within some limits, that empathy can be taught and can be learned. And to support that contention, I'm going to be doing a podcast sometime early next year, which is quite soon, with Dr. Paul Piff of UC Berkeley, University of California, Berkeley, whom I had an opportunity to hear at a local TEDx presentation, TEDx Marin. And he presented some very interesting research having to do with the teaching of empathy, of actually working with very wealthy people and showing that it's possible to reorient them towards being more empathetic and more likely to do charitable giving. So that's something to look forward to. I look forward to bringing it to you, and once again, thanks for the opportunity to put out the word here.
Now, Tina Pentland, one of our news editors and copy editors, we're going to cross over to her and see what she's uncovered this week. Thanks, Tina.
Hi there, this is Tina, bringing you up to date on my latest news article. Now, until I read the study and wrote this for you, I had never heard of this brain region called the lateral habenula. But apparently it is very important, scientists are finding out, because it influences the way that we are able to make decisions, especially decisions involving cost-benefit analysis. That means our ability to weigh up the relative cost in relation to any perceived reward. Now, people who suffer mental illness, in particular schizophrenia, avoidance behaviors of various kinds, and depression, often suffer from impaired ability to make decisions. Therefore, any research that can contribute and improve our knowledge about how we make decisions is going to, hopefully, down the line, improve the way that we can help these people to overcome their illness or to alleviate them. Therefore, I encourage you to read this article. Thank you.
Well, that's about all we have time for this week. I'm going to continue to enjoy my holiday here on the Gold Coast and look forward to catching up with you again next week on the Neuropsychotherapist. See you later.